Ooh. I guess we're doing this. All right, everybody. Got the hiccups. So today what I'm going to do is go into my work from home setup. And the reason for that is, one, I'm very bored and thought making a video and talking to a camera would be a fun thing to do this weekend. And number two, this has had a lot going into it. I thought it would be cool to talk about the tech, talk about all the considerations that went into this setup. It's a new thing for me. It's not something I've had to do, work from home, and nor is it for many of us. But I thought it would be cool to go over and talk about everything that goes into it. So let's get started with that, and I'll tell you about why we're doing this. So my job is in consulting, and so what that means is I travel basically 24/7. I mean, in 2019, I think I was home maybe every other weekend, and even then it was only Friday through Sunday, and Fridays I'd go to my office. So there was really no reason to work from home at all, and so I really didn't have much of a setup. And with this big change, I've not been traveling anymore. And I've thought, okay, I need to make a change so that working from home is comfortable and most productive for me. The comparison that I would draw is, if you travel a lot, you'll kind of get what I mean. When you travel a lot for work, you like to have nice luggage. You like to have lounge access. You get TSA PreCheck. You get all these things that make your life a lot easier when you travel a lot. And they're all very much worth it. And I kind of took a similar approach to working from home. I thought, okay, I need a nice chair to sit in. I'd like a nice monitor. I'd like a place that is aesthetically pleasing so that when I go to sit down and do my work for 8 to 12 hours a day, it's somewhere that I'm comfortable and it's somewhere that I really enjoy being. So that was sort of the motivation. So what I'm going to do in this video is talk through the desk. I'll talk through what I got, all the things that go on it, and we'll start with the desk itself. So this desk is an Uplift V2. I got it directly from Uplift. I talked with them about all my questions and how to put it together, and it's a pretty basic one. I didn't get it with any bells and whistles really. They did include this free balance board, which is kind of cool, and these organizing trays over here, but not a big deal otherwise. This is the one that's 6 feet long, 30 inches deep, so a really good sized desk. I really like having a lot of space. I had that when I was in high school, and I missed having that ever since college and ever since moving to my own place. It came with, or I should say I purchased it with, this chair. So this is Uplift's Pursuit ergonomic chair or something like that, and I've never really owned a nice desk chair, so getting this guy and I sat down in it, I was like, holy crap, this is a pretty nice thing. It goes all the way back like this, which is pretty sweet, and I've really liked it so far. Super comfortable, everything's adjustable. The headrest, I wish it went a little bit higher, but otherwise super comfortable. And I probably plan on using this for about half the day, with the other half spent standing up, getting some blood flowing, and using the balancing board to engage other muscle groups and keep things a little bit engaged as we stay indoors and we don't commute like we usually do. So that is the desk and chair, and with that I'll get more into the technology. And the first thing I'll start with is the number one thing that I really think helps clean up the look and feel of a work from home setup, and that is a monitor arm. I got the monitor arm that you'll see here from BH Photo Video. I actually got it used. It's only 30 bucks. The reason for that is you can get cheaper ones on Amazon, but I mean, everything on Amazon's back ordered for like a month, so I wasn't about to do that. But this one came in, looked like it'd just been opened and maybe returned or something like that, and it actually mounts really easily into one of the grommet holes that comes on the desk, and then you can thread the cables down through the grommet hole, and it looks really sleek, and it really helps clean up the area right in front of where you sit. And I think it's a really nice thing to have, and if I ever got two monitors in the future, I could mount that one on the other grommet hole and have two really big monitors that would fit on the desk and keep the space looking very clean. The monitor itself is a Dell 4K monitor. It's just their basic model. My buddy Drew sold it to me for a pretty solid price, and it's really great. I mean, whether you're writing a lot of code or doing photo and video editing, it's great for any of those things, and I've really enjoyed having it. It supports 60 hertz at 4K, so you get really smooth movement. It's a really great monitor. It's got a tiny nick in it, but it's one of those things where once you get used to it, you don't really notice. And yeah, it's a great monitor, and I'll link it below for the exact model and all those sorts of things. Next, I'll talk about what I've connected the monitor to. What are the computers? So one thing unique about my setup is I use two computers. I have my personal computer, which is a 13-inch MacBook Pro, and then I have a just standard issue Dell corporate laptop. Now, luckily both have the USB-C ports, so they both can take inputs from that. However, the Dell doesn't do Thunderbolt 3, whereas the MacBook Pro does. My Mac, it's pretty nice, it gets the job done, but I kind of wish it had a better graphics card. I'm sure editing this video is going to be a little rough, but it works for now. And of course the Dell computer is just fine for doing your typical workloads. And they're solid computers, and being able to switch between those pretty easily is something that I value quite a bit. Connected to the MacBook Pro, I've got this CalDigit dock. This dock is Thunderbolt 3. It supports doing 4K monitors, optical audio, an Ethernet port, and it's got a couple fast USB ports as well. And that's really important for me because the reason I got it was I ran out of space for my removable hard drives. I wasn't able to edit on my Lightroom catalog and keep my raw photo backup connected at the same time, which was not really workable for me. So that's why I invested in the dock, and my hope is if my work ever lets me switch to a nicer computer, I can keep everything on that dock and just switch and plug and play between my two laptops that support Thunderbolt 3, but that's not really possible at this point. And speaking of audio are the speakers. One thing that I really wanted to have was a good audio setup, and in college I bought these Peachtree audio speakers. I bought them because they said Peachtree, and that's a Georgia thing, and I lived in Georgia at the time, and I thought that was pretty cool. But they support optical audio, which is super nice. Just plug in and they play easily directly through the dock. They sound great, and what's even nicer, they have Bluetooth, so that if I ever want to be in the kitchen or somewhere around my relatively small place, I can connect my phone and play the audio over Bluetooth pretty easily. And they face towards the kitchen as well, so if I'm listening to music or listening to a podcast in the kitchen, I can hear it pretty easily, versus before they were in front of the TV over there, and the sound didn't really go in the right direction. Whoops, should silence that. Connected to both the Dell and the Mac are the keyboard and the mouse. This mouse, MX Master 3, seriously the best mouse that money can buy. I really do believe that. One button to switch between devices. Same with the keyboard, the Logitech MX keys. Really nice monitor, highly recommend them. And I used to have the Apple equivalents in Bluetooth wireless mouse and keyboard, but of course they don't connect to my Dell, and it's important for me to work between those two devices. One thing I noticed that's a little bit unfortunate is the dongle lags a lot on my Mac when it's plugged into the back of the dock. I'm not sure why that is. So what I had to do is actually plug it in directly with a little adapter, a little USB adapter directly into my Mac, and that luckily fixed the issue. But yeah, I wish I could plug everything into the dock, but that little guy unfortunately didn't really cooperate. Alright, so I know that's getting a little bit long-winded, so I'll try to close it out with the last couple things here on the list. To keep everything charged up, to keep everything put together, I wanted that to be pretty clean. I've got 3 cables sitting here. One's just the standard, I think it's a 40-watt charger for the iPad Pro. That's my just news, browsing, editing, sometimes video call device. I've got the Apple Lightning dock for my phone. The reason I use that instead of a wireless charger is I've got it plugged in over the 18-watt charger, so it's a lot faster than using any of the wireless chargers with an iPhone. I prefer that. I also prefer how it keeps the phone standing up so I can see the notifications come across easier. But for the AirPods, for my main headphones, I do keep those in a wireless charger. Now what's funny about the wireless charger is it's the one that they ship you when you hit Premier 1K and United Airlines, which is a subtle flex, but it's pretty nice. I do love flying, and The AirPods don't really use much power when they're charging, so having it just sit on there is perfectly fine, and it keeps it charged up as it should. Lastly, I'll close here with what I'm looking to do next. There are a couple changes that I think will help enhance this and might be coming in the future. Number one is I want to get a webcam. If you shop for one for your work from home setup, you might have noticed they're sold out on every website. That's everything from $40 cheap webcams to the very expensive webcams that shoot 4K and are made for professionals. Number two, I might get an Ethernet cable. My router, sits right over there in the corner. I could snake one right around the wall. Not really necessary though. I do have gigabit internet, but for what I do, it's been plenty fast just over wireless. I'm the only one connected to it after all, so there's not a lot of bandwidth being used. There's really not a ton of interference in my building either, luckily. So not necessary, but might be something I do in the future if I want to. And number three, I do need to get another DisplayPort cable so that I can connect my Mac and my Dell both to the monitor. That way when I want to switch, I don't have to move the cable around. I can just hit input and then I'm right there ready to go with either computer. So those will be the three things I'm looking to put together, and that's really my setup tour between the monitor, the desk, the computers, and the accessories all around. And if you thought it was cool, let me know. I might do more quarantine content in the future if I like how this comes together. But thank you very much for tuning in for however long this video is going to be. I don't really know how to estimate these things. But until next time, goodbye for now.